I would say that Russian aggression started not in 2 years ago, but in 2014, when Russia seized Ukrainian peninsula of Crimea and started its operation in Donbass. So we've been in a state of war with Russia for almost 10 years, as I said. So we created our project exactly in March of 2014, when we saw that the flood of Russian disinformation on Russian TV networks, most of them belong to Russian government or controlled by Russian government. So a group of professors, alumni, and students of the Kyiv-Mohyla University, they created a fact-checking project. We call it Stop Fake. So as for now, we have hundreds of thousands of examples of Russian disinformation, propaganda, lies about Ukraine. And well, the full-scale aggression that started in February of 2022, of course, it was something new for us. And now some of our team members, we had to relocate them to safer places in Ukraine or even abroad. And this winter, we had periods without electricity, without power, without heating for several days because Russia sent its rockets to Ukrainian electricity stations, generation and distribution of electricity. And now, almost every second night, for example, me, I had to bring my family in the night and bring them to the nearest bomb shelter because Russia continues to shell Ukrainian cities, including Kiev, with rockets, with bombs. So now it's dangerous, but well, we are prepared for that situation, and of course we know that Russia bombs and attacks Ukraine not only with bombs but with disinformation and propaganda, and we think that sometimes it's even more dangerous for the country, for security of the country, because bombs can destroy a building or kill some people, but with disinformation and propaganda, Russia wants to demotivate our people, to feel us desperate, to lose our trust in our victory, and to weaken support that the whole world provides Ukraine with military assistance and financial assistance and all the other means of assistance. Well, people who create and who are in charge of Russian disinformation propaganda, they are smart enough. When they started in two years ago, when they started full-scale invasion, they started to support it with pro-Russian disinformation. So they explained to Russians and to Ukrainians that Russia just wants to liberate Ukraine from so-called Nazis. They created a myth that Ukraine is controlled by Nazi government, and they want to just to remove this government from the power. Of course, it was lie, and we debunked a lot of fakes dedicated to promote this lie. And now, as I said, they use different type of narratives, because now Ukrainians, they don't trust Russian narratives about the Russian world and their Russians who want to liberate Ukraine from Nazis, of course, because as I said, almost every night and day they bombed our houses, our buildings with their rockets. So they try to split our society, to to fuel existing conflicts in the society and to create new conflicts. For example, they try to fuel conflicts between our military commanders and our political commanders, between the president and the people who are in charge of military operation. They want to split people based on the different languages they speak, on the base of different church they go. So they do their best to create these conflicts and to weaken our society, to weaken our resistance. And of course, they do a lot to target foreign governments, foreign people with different sets of messages. So they created an image of Ukraine as a corrupt country, and they tried to persuade people in the United States and in the European countries that why should you provide this military and financial assistance to Ukraine? Because they steal everything. They are corrupted, and there is no need to support Ukraine anymore. They tried to use propaganda to persuade people in the United States and European countries that the precise weapons that Western countries provide to Ukraine, they just distributed to terrorist groups in different countries. Of course, we debunked these fakes and they failed. So that's what they are focused on right now. And of course, they try to make us enemies with Poland, with Hungary, with other European countries. So they create a lot of propaganda content to fuel conflicts between us. Yeah, well, sometimes I think that people in Russia who create propaganda narratives, they use old textbooks. So they used it in Balkan states, in Kosovo, in Serbia, and other places. Probably they decided it was successful operation, so they kind of reuse all these cases with in Ukraine with a new purpose. And of course, they very often they use very sensitive topics like selling organs or topics that are connected with children. The very famous case was about so-called crucified boy. They created this fake in 2014, and they tried to persuade people that Ukrainian army soldiers crucified a little boy in front of the crowd in the city of Slavyansk. Of course, it was a lie, but this lie helped Russian television to persuade their own population, their own people, Russians in Russia, that this is true. And a lot of people in Russia, they left their homes, their families, their jobs. They took machine guns and went to Ukraine they wanted to protect children in Russian-speaking regions of Ukraine from so-called Ukrainian Nazis who crucified Russian-speaking children, who kill Russian-speaking population. So they do it a lot. They use a lot of sensitive topics, as I said, like children, organ trading, to create a very, very sensational information. It helps them to, because people who read it on Facebook or other social platforms, they usually share this kind of information, this sensational information on Facebook or other platforms with their friends on messengers. So it helps them to promote this bullshit, I would say. Well, we think and we see that Russian propaganda and disinformation works not just in Ukraine. Of course, they target people in other countries because they think it's effective. Russian government spends billions of dollars to create a propaganda machine, And it's not just RT or Sputnik or other media that we can see. They spend a lot of money on so-called troll farms. They spend a lot of money on Telegram channels, and it's not always easy to see them, to monitor them, to track them. So my recommendation, and not just for Balkan states, but for all other countries, would be do not ignore this problem, because one day you can wake up and see in the window like that people kill each other with machine guns because someone persuaded them to hate each other because of different race, because of different faith or language they speak. And well, so there is no universal solution for all the countries. Solutions might be different. We do fact checking. Of course, we understand that this is not enough to fight disinformation and propaganda, but we do a lot of other things. I mean, we in Ukraine, to fight Russian disinformation, to make them weaker, to make them look funny, stupid, and well, now the world knows that Russian media, Russia uses its media as a disinformation platform, as a tool of uh, producing and dissemination of fakes and lies. So again, we have awareness about the problem, and my recommendation would be do not ignore. We have no right to leave it on their own, because we see it in Ukraine that Russian disinformation and propaganda is very dangerous, and it might create problems, and we don't Russia to be as effective player in using disinformation and propaganda in other countries.